Yeah. Yeah. Guess who came back with a large fucking fist to eat the Brooklyn blast furnace? I brought your ugly bitch with me. Your shit is sus. Ain't nobody trying to hear you talk. When Jimmy's on the mic, they take your whack shit and turn it off. It's real life, not them stories that you punks say. He made it out alive, and he's relatively unscathed. So subscribe to the podcast and share the post and tell your stupid friends to do the same. You heard it here from Coast.
Oh, look at this guy!
Oh, hey, look,
Hey.
it's another episode of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace with my returning guest after a couple of years, my good friend Danny Marianino, and then we have Mick. I don't want to do. Is it Lambrou?
Lambrou, yeah, close enough.
Lambrou. I don't want to butcher your name, even though right now
No, that's okay.
You look like a butcher.
Thank you.
Right now, he's like the guy in Gangs of New York. He's cooking a stick. That's it.
You are definitely Bill the Butcher.
The last time I grew a mustache last year, someone at a gig said I looked like a famous Australian serial killer.
I believe that.
Was that guy Chopper?
No. His name was Ivan Milat. He was a backpacker murderer. He'd pick people, hitchhikers up, and then bury them in the forest, up in Sydney. So I shaved it off after that, but it's back.
You sure he wasn't a Greek guy, Ivan Malaka?
That could be.
There you go.
Could have been.
Ivan the Malaka?
Burying people in the forest, in the outback. Crazy. That's awesome. Well, as everybody should already know, Danny is a singer for the Northside Kings, infamous for knocking out little baby Glen Danzig. He has several books out, including the latest, and there's another version coming out of It Blows My Mind. Also, Don't Have a Bunch of Rocks on. This is the one with the 12% more, so you go to Amazon and buy this, kids.
Yeah, 12% more hate mail.
Yeah, it's awesome. He went into the deep state files and pulled out some extras. Awesome. And Mick is a ridiculous artist, has worked with 1 million bands and did the artwork for this book and the one that's coming out. So it was actually Danny's idea. Once I brought the podcast back, we're like, oh, we should do a follow-up because there's another one coming out. And we like just to bullshit anyway because, we just like to babble and talk shit about everything and anything. Yeah.
And we figured we'd bring Mick on with it together. It'd be a nice little thing there, I don't think me and Mick have actually done a show together. Well, we've done like some Instagram stuff together, but we haven't done
like
an actual podcast. Yeah, we've been kind of like kicking that around as an idea, I figured that would be fun.
Yeah, what time? What day and time is it over there?
It's Saturday afternoon, 12:05 p.m.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Oof. All right. Good shit. Well, at least it's not like the middle of the night for you, because
no, that's all right.
You are the out of everybody that I've ever had on the podcast, you are definitely the furthest person that I'm speaking to all the way in Australia. Yeah, definitely. I've had like Norway, because I had Ted Parsons from Prong on, a couple people from England. Last week, well, the last episode, which didn't drop yet because it's podcast time, he's in Spain. So yeah.
Red ships of Spain.
Yeah, he's in like Barcelona. But yeah. So welcome, man, and thank you for adjusting whatever your schedule is like to
No,
come.
thank you. That's okay. Well, I remember, Jimmy, we were going to do an episode together a few years ago.
Right. Well, yeah, because almost 2 years. No, maybe it was COVID, but that COVID was when I first started doing the Zoom stuff. Because it was always, I would run around like crazy after work, this and that, and I would go and meet people physically in places and set up my thing, and it would just be face-to-face only audio. I did that for like years. Every week, I ran around like a maniac doing that. And then once the whole COVID thing, I always said I'll never do the phone call or the video thing because it's not as personal. But then COVID happened, and I'm like, I still want to do the podcast, so I really have no choice. You know what I mean? So now it's like this is all I want to do. I have pajama pants on. Like I don't want to run around no more and go fucking meet people in a loud place or whatever. So it might have been around that time. It's possible. And then I killed the podcast. I legitimately killed it. And when I did that final episode, like I had all intentions of literally just, it wasn't like, oh, you know, taking a break. Like it was dead. And then I decided to, for some stupid reason, I decided to write a fucking book, which is just strange for me to even say out loud still. And one of the first people that I reached out to was Danny.
And I've read quite a bit of what you've written. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, those are like little snippets in here and there, bro. I'm like right now, as of right now, I'm 570 pages in, bro.
Wow.
And I have like 8 more years to write about. I'm only in the summer of 2006. My daughter's not even born yet in the book. My daughter's 14. She's sitting behind that wall in the living room, eating sushi like a big shot.
Well, don't let her see Mick's mustache. She may run out the door.
Yeah, she'll look at it, she'll be like, weird. She'll walk away.
You'd be like, Dad's got Tom Selleck on the podcast today.
100%.
Less hairline, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's the get up.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Selleck has that hairline. He's just, you know, he got Hollywood making that hair look so good. Because look at that fucking head of hair on that guy. There's no fucking way. I mean, maybe he's Magnum PI and he's got big dick fucking hair, but I just don't believe it.
You don't believe it? You think he's a little fraudulent?
Well, I think he's a little. I mean, I watched Stallone on that Tulsa King, and my dad sent me a picture. Like he zoomed in. He goes, "That's a plug."
Of course. Do not.
Oh, that's obvious. Yes, Stallone's plugs are obvious.
I don't care. Don't speak ill of Sylvester Stallone ever.
Listen, I don't.
No, I didn't mean that in a bad way.
I know.
I'm not. Listen, I don't want to get sidetracked already. I'm not speaking ill of Sylvester Stallone.
See, right there, that's awesome.
I just got these. My in-laws got this for me. They went to Hope, Canada, where they filmed
it. First Blood.
Yep, and they came back with the knife. It's got Stallone's engraved in it. If you can see that there,
I can.
It's got the compass. I can sew myself up if I have.
You gotta sew your bicep up after you fall off a cliff.
Yeah. It's number 7,455 out of 10,000 of these knives.
That's awesome, dude. That is one place that I need to go to. There it is.
Clearly, you know.
I am not mad at that. That's fucking awesome. That's amazing.
So I can harp on the guy's plugs a little bit.
Yeah, you can. Did you see the documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, but most of that shit was all stuff I knew already. You know, it was all. I mean, there was very few things that I didn't know. I've been such a fan of Stallone's and his career for since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And interviews and stuff. There really wasn't much in that. I'll be honest with you. The one that really was the Netflix one that really went deep was Schwarzenegger talking about banging the fucking maid. I mean,
I didn't see it yet.
Okay. So that was a 3-part documentary, and he talks about that. And he does say the most beautiful thing about that situation without me giving too much away. He says,
you can say it. I don't care. I'm going to watch it regardless.
Yeah, you should have watched it like 7 months ago anyway. So anybody who hasn't seen it, if I'm giving you a spoiler, go fuck yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So he says in that there, he says, I don't regret what I did one bit because I have the most wonderful son that I got out of that there. And if I didn't do what I did, I wouldn't have this great boy, this great son that I have. And I was like, man, you know what? I didn't expect him to even touch on that. And then when he did, he said something so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
So I learned a little bit more about his history, in Austria and growing up and coming over. Stallone's kind of was most of what we know, but it was still cool. I mean,
it was still cool, man. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, how do you not? We grew up on that stuff, and like. You talk about Schwarzenegger. I'm sure you've heard the whole Bill Burr bit about Schwarzenegger, about a great man.
Oh yeah,
great man. Yo,
that was Bill Burr's.
It's hilarious. If no one knows what you're talking about, if I'm talking about, just go to YouTube and just type in Bill Burr, Arnold Schwarzenegger, It's brilliant and amazing.
He's like, so what does he do? He becomes the fucking governor.
Yeah, of a state he can't even pronounce.
My wife got tickets for me for Christmas to go see Bill Burr, and I think March or April he's coming to Phoenix. I can't
Really?
wait.
Really? Awesome. I saw him live twice in like 2014, right before I got sober. I hardly remember it. I was a mess. And then once in like 2000, I don't know, maybe like 19 or something like that. He's awesome.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've seen all the stand-up specials, and I like that new movie he did, Old Dads. Or
I didn't
whatever.
see it yet. It's right there. It's on my list. I didn't see it yet, but it looks ridiculous.
It's good, and then obviously the Staten Island one he did with Big Dick Pete Skeet.
Yes.
That one was a good one too. So, and even that one he did with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock's.
Yeah.
The cop movie. He was one of the family. Everything he's in, he's fucking awesome. He's great. I'm a big fan of his. So.
Even Breaking Bad, he was awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in Breaking Bad. Yeah,
he was great. Mick, what's going on over there down under?
It's hot here today. Actually, it's really muggy. I mean, we're in the middle of summer now, so it's getting hot.
What part of Australia are you in?
So I'm in Melbourne, which is in Victoria, which we're right down the southeast part of the country.
Okay.
I think Melbourne's pretty much now. I think it's almost getting there to being the biggest city in Australia. Like it's catching up to Sydney, if not population-wise, bigger than Sydney now. So I'm born and bred down here. I live in sort of the northern suburbs of Melbourne. This is like sort of the neighborhood where my dad's family migrated to when they came to Australia in the 60s. So, my boys are like the fourth generation that have lived in this neighborhood, which is cool. So, long-standing sort of family background in this area, which is kind of nice. It feels like home, even though I grew up on the other side of the city.
Yeah.
I've lived out here for about 8 years or so now. So, yeah.
So I have to throw some hacky, like legit questions at you, which I really don't usually do because I need to know certain things. Like, how did you find and what turned you on to hardcore?
I grew up. I always loved music growing up, and I think as we were going through high school, there were about 2 or 3 other friends of mine that we all started getting into the 90s US punk stuff, the Epitaph records and the Fat Record stuff. And we were sort of the only 2 or 3 guys in school that were listening to that sort of music. So we were like the punks that were at school. And it just, I guess, like probably a lot of people, just progressively, I wanted something more aggressive, something harder. And then when I first heard Scratch the Surface for the first time, and demonstrating my style, they're the 2 records that I always remember still to this day, of the ones it's like, okay, this is what I found, that sound that I want.
Everybody has that pivotal point that they can pinpoint exactly what show or what band or what record, the situation surrounding it, that pointed them into that direction. I have
so it was around.
I'm sure you have it, Danny.
USA for MOD was one of them. I was listening to a lot of metal, back then, and then that album came, and then it brought me into SOD, and I would say Mucky Pup or Boy in a Man's World. Growing up in New Jersey, I got to see them play. Matter of fact, one of the first shows I ever played with like a touring band.
Shout out to Baby Chris.
Yeah, the first show I ever played with a touring band was Mucky Pup. As a matter of fact, I showed Chris. I have a Boy in a Man's World signed, the cassette, but it wasn't their. It was the Now lineup, the next album. So there's guys that signed it that weren't even on that album.
It doesn't even make sense. It's like it's wrong.
Yeah. But I don't have the cassette, but I still have the cover. All these years later. But yeah,
I seen Mucky Pup so many times back in the day, man. They were a fun band. Chris used to come out on stage. It was like 92. It was a show I saw. It was, the lineup was ridiculous. It's like almost like a dream lineup now in nowadays terms. It was like the Icemen Life of Agony before it was like that's when Keith was still behind the keyboard, like before River Runs Red. It was like the demo days. Mucky Pup and Leeway at this
Yeah.
place in 90. It was March or April of 92. I still have the tickets up. I posted about it on the book group page, like on the anniversary or something. And like at that show, baby Chris, he's all overweight and stuff, and he came out and he's wearing a baby diaper, and that's it, with a pair of shades with one lens out. And that's all he was wearing. It was just a big fat baby singing, because I'm the baby. And it's just like, it was so fun and ridiculous. But those times were, and Leeway at that point were at like the fucking pinnacle of this shit, like Desperate Measures had like just come out, and it was, it's just incredible stuff.
I wanted to name Northside Kings Desperate Measures, but nobody liked it, so we didn't.
Well, it was just literally after the record?
After that record, yeah. That was the second band that I played with that was a touring band, was Leeway, and then Widowmaker, which was Dee Snider's band.
Yes.
We played at Studio One in Newark. And I don't mean to cut Mick's story off. I'm going to tell you this, and then I'll shut the hell up.
But before everyone starts, I just want to say real quick before we get sidetracked, I want to say rest in peace, Michael Gibbons.
Yeah, definitely.
The original guitarist for Leeway. Rest in peace, Mike. I had him on the podcast years ago, and he was always a super cool guy. And I was surprised to hear of his passing, and it sucks because Leeway never got its proper due, in my opinion, and no one expected it. So rest in peace, Mike.
Two bands that never got their proper due, I think, is Leeway and the Crumbsuckers. Were
100%.
Yeah, those were the two. But yeah, we played with Widowmaker, and we played at Studio One in Newark as my high school band. And I'll never forget, like Dee Snider from Twisted Sister had Widowmaker after. There was like an old broad who was probably like in her 30s then, but I was like a teenager, so that was old to me. And she had like a leather corset on while we were playing, and she pulled out her titty, and like my whole band were like, "Oh, rock and roll!" We were blown away with that. But anyways, the guy in that band, I talked to one of the guitar players, and the guy was really fucking cool. And just past December, me and my wife went to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. She loves it. I like it too, but that's really her thing. And this was the second time we saw him, and the guy came out and he kept talking and talking in between songs, and I'm like, man, I know this guy's voice from somewhere. Like it was resonating with me. I looked it up, and he was in Widowmaker. So I was like, holy shit, that was the guy. I remembered that guy.
Of course.
Then, as a kid, the guy just was so nice and talked to our band, and we thought, wow, we're playing with Twisted Sister. We're gonna be we're
gonna be giant. We're gonna be signed to Capitol Records.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Mick, you had the two. I would say demonstrating my style. I'm sick of it all. Those are like.
I mean, if you put a gun to my head and you ask me, like, my all-time favorite hardcore band would be Sick of It All.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them I don't know how many times. It's like I've like just like you, Danny. I was into all the metal. Then I went to L'Amour's to go see Suicidal Tendencies. Leeway was one of the bands that opened up. And when Leeway came on, that was my pivotal point. Right from there, I went to a store. I bought Born to Expire because Desperate Measures was always getting delayed. If anyone remembers, it was delayed so many times to come out. So only Born to Expire was out. So I bought that, and the guy who worked in this, the guy who owned the place, sold me Agnostic Front, Liberty, and Justice. And they're both very metal crossover records, which was perfect because I was such a metalhead. So it was like an easy transition. And then I did my homework, and I went in reverse, and I got like Cause for Alarm, Victim in Pain, and I found like the Cro-Mags. And then, and that was early on. Like Madball, like didn't even have like anything out yet because Agnostic Front was still going strong, and there was no Madball yet. And then there was the rumblings of Set It Off, and then and then that was like, I look at myself now. Back then, I was so fortunate to be a certain age during that time.
Yeah, it's a classic right place, right time.
Just classic.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
CBGB's final, they're like the last warning record from Agnostic Front. Like I was there
Mm.
that night. Like you hear me in the microphone. There's like I'm all over the CD collage and stuff like that. And it's just like there's so much. I've seen so many bands in little tiny rat hole places, and just amazing, amazing time. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
when
think
people,
and
Sick of
sick
All
of it
are
all
out here in
so
like
many
2 weeks.
times.
Yeah, they'll be out here in 2 or 3 weeks, I think.
Good
wow.
for them. I'm
First time
so
in
happy for them.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Even
they've been coming
AF.
out here since '96. Yeah.
Yeah, even look at AF. How old is Vinny? Vinny's like 60 feet, a senior citizen, Vinny.
Mm.
And they're still
Yeah.
touring. They're all over the world.
I remember when he turned 65, he was all excited to be able to go to the senior center to go swimming and stuff. He was telling me the story. He's like, yeah, go to senior center.
It's amazing. With his Madball tattoo and his New York hardcore tattoo. He's like 60 something. He's getting Madball tattooed on his head. It's amazing. I love that guy.
I really believe, and you hear these guys in bands and the older school guys talking about the heyday of hardcore in the early '80s. And I honestly, I think we had the heyday.
Yeah.
We had Sick of It All coming up, Biohazard coming up,
Oh,
Life of Agony coming up,
yeah.
Madball coming up, and
Yeah.
then the Snapcase, the Earth Crisis,
Yeah.
that whole scene of hardcore
Yeah,
bands,
man.
Strife out in California.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
Vision of Disorder.
Vision of Disorder and Integrity. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe that those guys, the older school guys that went to shows and they went to A7 and all that, they had some cool shows.
Yeah.
In the Bad Brains and the other stuff, whatever. I think we lived through the real heyday of hardcore.
I think so too. Bands, a lot of the bands that we came up that we just mentioned are all still going.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Man,
and some multiple versions.
100%. Yeah. Chromags,
Chromags JM, Chromags LMNOP.
Yeah. Amazing. It's
I
true.
did a weird bit of trivia. Both Danny and I got the exact same. Our first tattoo was the exact same tattoo on the same arm, on the same part of our arm, and that was the Sick of It All dragon.
Yeah,
that's
almost in the same, potentially the same year. Even that was a weird thing that we found out about each other.
That's awesome. That was this. I guess we all have the dragon because I have it too. But that was my second tattoo because I'm a jerk off from Brooklyn, and the first tattoo that I got was my jerk off name on my arm. But it's been since covered. But here's like a small little deep cut that you guys would most likely know. I got the tattoo. I was 15. They was still illegal in New York City. And it was this guy, Fat Vinny, Coney Island Vinny. I was with Anthony Mio, the original drummer for Biohazard before he's on all the demos. So I was with him in this guy's kitchen getting a tattoo at this guy's dining room table while his wife was making sauce. And it cost me $10 and a pack of Marlboro Red soft packs.
That's great.
And rest in peace, Anthony Mio. He passed away this year as well. But yeah, that's my first tattoo. And then I went to Fun City Tattoos down on St. Mark's, and I got my Sick of It All dragon underneath my neck and between my shoulders. And then I think after that was my Biohazard tattoo on my leg, which is fucked up because it's like upside down. I got an upside down Biohazard tattoo.
The guy that tattooed my Sick of It All dragon was JJ, who played bass in that band Fight with Rob Halford.
No shit.
Yeah, because
awesome.
Fight was from here. I mean, Rob Halford was here, and JJ stole those tattoos, but he did my first tattoo. I remember we watched Hellraiser 2, and I got the tattoo. What a weird movie to watch get tattooed.
Yeah, really. This lady's
my guy was a
dining room table.
The guy that did my dragon was a pro wrestler on the weekend.
Oh, that's even
on the weekend.
Yeah. He's a tattooer during the week, and he was a wrestler on the weekends.
Nice. Yeah, I think of our age, I think like 90% of us all have a Sick of It All dragon.
And you know what? It's deserving. I mean,
1,000%.
like I said, I think we lived through such a, and then, and even the bands that were from the old school that came back, Agnostic Front comes out with that Gotta Go album. And,
Yeah.
I mean, just.
Yeah, that was Something's Gotta Give, right? Yeah,
and then Murphy's Law did that other album I really like too with Don't Bother Me and a couple other.
Oh shit!
I love that album. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what Stay Gold on it. Dedicated.
Dedicated, that's right.
I mean, so some of the older bands came back at that same time, busting out some great records too.
Yeah, man.
And another very underrated band, and I definitely say that Northside Kings bit a lot off from this band. And I've told Gary Meskill this before, but
Propane.
Yeah, Propane. I mean, I bit a lot of Propane with Northside Kings.
Dude, that fucking record, the record, The Truth Hurts. One Man Army, that whole fucking the song, The Truth Hurts, bro. That album,
The Beast is back.
The Beast is back. I had that record on repeat for years solid. Just
Switchblade Knife, I'm gonna cut you and leave you for dead. I mean,
Let's Sleep It Awesome. Lie, that whole, it's such a great underrated fucking band and record.
How are they seen over there? Because you never really hear much about them, and they certainly never hear anything about them here.
You hardly hear about them here for some stupid reason.
Well, I'll tell you the reason. I know exactly what the reason is. It's because the hardcore kids don't know how to relate to a guitar solo. In the generation of the 90s hardcore kids, when they hear a guitar solo, they think it's a metal band. And a lot of the hardcore bands that you see coming out, you don't hear a guitar solo on a Hatebreed album, really. Right. You don't hear, you hear a guitar solo on a Slayer album. And I really believe that kind of hurt Propane and took them from being probably one of the greatest hardcore bands out there to being a band that's kind of stuck between a shit and a fart. And the kids in Europe, they relate to it. They listen to Propane, they go fucking crazy over there. And that's why Propane tours like crazy over there. But out here, you do a guitar solo, like, oh, they do fucking shitty metal.
Yeah.
And these kids are like ridiculous, some of them, that they think that they can't be part of it,
Yeah. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. That makes sense. That could have been with Leeway too, because there was solos in Leeway records and with Leeway solos.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I think guitar solos hurt a hardcore band. Also, the fact that Gary plays bass and sings, and if Gary was singing with a microphone and putting it out in the crowd, and it's a shame that such a good band has suffered.
Yeah,
at least in the U.S. Yeah, over there they haven't suffered. In the U.S. because they're fucking dynamite, man. The Dynamite Band.
Yeah. Great band. I seen them once, I think, live at the Limelight. Dude, I'm talking like 1993. Some shit.
I opened
30 years ago.
There's another high school band we opened up for. It was Propane and a band called Shank 456, I think they were called.
Okay.
They were on Roadrunner. They were a band before that. They were called Creeper from New York. And then they changed the name to Shank 456, and Roadrunner put the record out for them for that.
I never even heard of them. Why did I never even hear of that band?
Yeah, they were pretty cool. I mean, and they were very Propane-ish. So, my high school band, them, and then Propane, and the drummer Dan Richardson threw a drumstick out in the crowd. My dad had to drive us into that show, into the city, because in New Jersey it wasn't as easy to get your band equipment to a show.
Yeah.
And he threw a drumstick out in the crowd. He hit my father. My father's like, "This motherfucker threw a drumstick." My father wanted to fight the guy. My dad went to 2 shows, and that was one of them. And he almost beat up the drummer for Propane that night.
What was the name of your high school band?
Nation of Hate.
Oh, isn't that awesome? I love that shit. Like when you're a kid and you're like, yeah, look at Nation of Hate. That's hard.
We are the Nation of Hate.
I fucking love that. It
sounds like a horrible Nazi band or something. It was a dopey band. We had a song about sex with midgets or something.
That's awesome. Listen. It's entertaining shit, man. That's fucking hilarious. I love that old school kind of cheesy adolescent over the top names.
The bass player for that band was Jason from Kid Dynamite, the singer.
No
he
shit.
played bass in our high school band. He was the
Nice.
bass player. So
Yeah, I love that. I always ask people that, like Craig Ahead from Sick of It All. Like his first band was a band called Axe Attack, which is amazing. I love
Axe Attack. I love that. I want to
Axe
join that thing.
Attack.
He's got to put that back together. I want to join Axe Attack.
Every time I speak to Craig, I bring it up, and he gets aggravated every time. I'm like, "Oh, how's the Axe Attack going?" He's like, "Oh,
No, but I'll mention it to him when he's here in a couple of weeks.
absolutely."
Mick, you should do an album cover for Axe Attack.
Oh my
Help get the
God.
ball rolling for the new album.
Yeah, bro, like just a picture of Craig as young Craig with an axe running, Axe Attack. He would just be like, "What's wrong with you? Like you've been speaking to fucking Jimmy Ferrari lately?" He would know. Awesome. I love Craig. Shout out to Craig Ahead. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
And he loves to talk about himself, which is hilarious, and he has no qualms about it. I love that.
We talk back and forth, me and him. We text about food.
Oh, yeah.
And barbecue tips. We go back. Me, him, and Gallo. We got like a little.
Oh God, the whole pizza crew. Oh God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm showing him. I'm talking steaks and
Yeah.
the Mexican plancha and the Santa Maria grill that you roll up the grate. And you
Nice.
over it, and I'm hanging meat on hooks in the backyard.
That's awesome.
So and Craig's a foodie, so you know.
Oh, bro, me and John Lamacchia, guitarist for Candiria, him, and we told Craig because he's this pizza guy, and we brought him to L&B, Spumoni Gardens, for the first time ever a couple of years back.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that, yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to come back there this year for a book thing.
Wait, in New York?
In New York, and I want to.
Oh, motherfucker, you have my number, bro.
Yeah,
you have my number. We'll go get a fucking full sheet of fucking.
I've never been there, and I'm dying to eat the pizza there.
See, I'm almost jealous because you've never been there, and I've had it, so it's like that first time. Because Craig is like a stickler for all that shit. As soon as he fucking bit into it, he took a bite. And he just threw it down. He was like, "Oh, it's good." And I was like, "Yes." Like I'm almost jealous that first time.
That, and I got a friend in the Bronx that's got an Italian deli. It's G&S Deli. This guy Giovanni. You know, everything he does, he sandwiches. How you doing? How you doing? Nice. He does the Bronx Godfather, and his sandwiches are fucking insane. He's got like 150,000 or 200,000 people on his Instagram.
Really?
He lived out here for a little bit, but the guy makes the best mozzarella. I mean, homemade, fresh mozzarella, and I'll send you his.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, but that's another stop. I want to go get a sandwich off of him over there.
Yeah, there's a spot in Jersey. I don't remember the name of it. My friend Dominic told me about it, but they have all kinds of names for the sandwiches and shit like that. And there's one, and they purposely called it. It's called Your Sister's Ass. So you go in there. Let me have your sister's ass and this and that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Now Mick is a connoisseur of something that he sent me for Christmas, like a box of.
What is it? So let's talk Australian cuisine, because I don't know what you fucking people eat over there, bro.
I'll let Mick take it away over there. This is like my new favorite thing. I can't stop eating it.
All right.
So I brought Danny a whole bunch of little souvenirs and all that sort of stuff when I was in Arizona in May, and the one thing that I knew I had to take was a jar of Vegemite.
Vegemite.
You know the song, He Just Smiled and Give Me Your Vegemite sandwich.
Yeah, but what is that though? What is it? Isn't it like
yeah, it's like a spread. It's basically black, very dark brown black. It's yeast extract, which sounds horrible.
And it's delicious, Danny?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things here that here it's like kids have it on toast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the main thing that I think you kind of eat it with. Some butter on toast. You got to butter the toast first, butter and then the Vegemite, because you can't have it neat because it's not. I don't think you can really deal with it. That's very salty. Like it's just.
It's almost like anchovies. So if you like the saltiness of an anchovy, it has.
Is it fishy?
No,
No.
but it has
Okay.
that salty taste like an anchovy does.
Okay.
So
I'm
this
okay with
motherfucker-
that.
Yeah, he's got me putting it on. I made a bagel the other day with the Vegemite. I make eggs, pepperoni and eggs. I put the Vegemite on it. I'm putting Vegemite on fucking everything in the house. Anything I get. I made chicken. I made chicken wings, and I put the Vegemite on the chicken wings. He sent me a whole cookbook with all the recipes to make millions of different Vegemite things. So I'm over here fucking, like a wannabe making
Like a wannabe.
crazy.
I'm going crazy with the Vegemite over here. That's
Love it. I love it.
Well, there's a pizzeria, I think, in Brooklyn that the guy puts Vegemite on a margarita pizza, like a thin drizzle
I've never heard of that.
Vegemite. Yeah, I saw
In
it
Brooklyn?
on Facebook or something. Yeah, it was somewhere it was in New York somewhere, but
Really?
you
I
can get it.
put it on a white pie, a slice of white pie the other day.
Really?
I'm putting it on everything.
I know, obviously, eggs, pizza, chicken wings.
Well, here people can use it as, I think my mum might have done this. I'm not sure, but instead of adding like salt to say if you're making bolognese, for the salt part of the dish, you put Vegemite in it.
Okay.
And
That
it
makes
kind of
sense.
just dissolves. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember the first time I told Danny that, he's like, "Mate, you people are fucked. What the hell are you doing with that sort of stuff?" So I sent Danny a whole box of stuff, a Vegemite cookbook, a little Vegemite Christmas ornament for his Christmas tree.
Nice.
3
That's like
tubs
right
of
up his alley. He
Vegemite.
has so much nonsense. That's awesome. A Vegemite ornament. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, my wife's like, enough's enough with the Vegemite. I'm like, I'm expanding the palette of the Vegemite. I'm gonna
Listen,
try. I'm gonna put it in a salad next.
why not?
I'm mixing a
And the
nice little
other,
Italian dressing with a little Vegemite in it.
There you go.
and I brought I'll give you a leather pouch made
yeah.
out of kangaroo's ball bag.
Really?
Yeah, I like
You
that
have
too.
you have a leather pouch made out of a kangaroo's balls.
It's in my bedroom. I put my jewelry in the ball sack. I got my pinky ring in there.
You?
I got a pinky ring with my initials, with the DM. Total old school Guinea. Was my grandfather's. Got the diamonds in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm the fourth, so there's multiple Daniel Marianino, so they just keep passing the ring down, and I keep my pinky ring in a ball sack from a kangaroo.
That should be the name of this podcast. Pinky ring in a ball sack.
So that's how we treat our national animals here. We eat them and use their ball bags for sacks and pouches and stuff.
I like it. It's like economical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing goes to waste over there in the outback. Funny, man. Ooh, so how do we see what we did? We went from I don't know where the fuck we went to kangaroo's balls.
We went from the classic era of
hardcore to Danny
to
Spring
kangaroo's
and
ball bags. Yeah.
Right. That's what happens. That's what happens.
But really, the cool thing with Mick, and I think this is a pretty extraordinary thing, and I don't quite know how he got into it. I never really asked him that question. I know how me and him met, but I mean, all the bands that we've talked about, he's pretty much done art for every one of them.
Yeah,
which is amazing to me. You know.
Is there a band that you haven't done artwork for that's like you need to do artwork for them for some weird reason? Like I would just like to do
almost all the bands that I've had on my bucket list that I think are kind of achievable bucket list bands. You know, I mean, I'm not going to get a call from Angus Young's management to do an AC/DC t-shirt, right. But all the bands that I've wanted to, like I've done the one thing that I'm waiting for still is I did a ton of stuff with Biohazard just when they announced the reunion.
Gotcha.
And they were probably the last band that I was on my, my wish list. Yeah. But at the time, the wish list, they were on a wish list that they weren't active and they weren't even playing. And then Billy messaged me going, "We're just about to announce a reunion. Do you want to do some art for us?" And I was like, "Shit, yeah!" So
Yeah, man.
I did a ton of stuff for them. I don't really know what's going on with it or if it'll see the light of day, but
Yeah.
I guess for my own thing, I that box has been ticked.
Yeah.
But I mean, doing stuff for, I just did Murphy's Law's 40th anniversary shirt for their 40th anniversary show. So, I mean, that's I think my 15th or 16th Murphy's Law shirt,
Wow.
which
Awesome.
is insane. And Danny was like, he can't believe it. I can't believe it even more. It's
Yeah.
to be where I am, literally the arse end of the world, tucked
Yeah.
around the back there, where it's hot and sticky. Uh, to have these bands hit me up for stuff, and to keep asking me, as a return, artist is amazing. Like, even with Sheer Terror, I've done a dozen or so Sheer Terror shirts.
Yeah.
Um, and Paul
What a
was
band
amazing.
also. What a fucking
Yeah,
band also. Yeah.
and he, and then meeting these guys when I was in New York in May, after all this time, was, a pinch myself moment as well. I was, in a room with almost all my musical heroes in one place at the one time. It was like being, in a dream where everybody's there. And, when I finally met Jimmy G, I came up behind him and I put my arm around him and he turned around. He goes, you're real. You're a real person. You're not just that guy on the internet. It's
Yeah.
you're here. You're really here with us. And yeah, it was really amazing.
Jimmy is a great, one of the most fun, awesome guys, man. Jimmy G is
Yeah.
rules.
And I spent spent a lot of time talking with Paul Bearer, and he's busting my chops and
That's what he
joking around
does.
stuff and talking about Australian bands and stuff, which I know he loves as well. And yeah, it was a trip. That was kind of the moment that I would kind of dreaming would sort of happen at some point, where I'd be able to be there. And bizarrely enough, and I don't want this to sound like I'm being cocky or anything, but
It's fine.
I was more recognized at that show, the Black and Blue Bowl, the 2 days there, and even the Scarhead in store at Generation Records. More people came up to me to say hello there than I do in my own town when I go to a show. Um,
Wow.
I'm just an old guy that still goes to shows here
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
most people wouldn't look twice at. It happened last night. I went to a show last night and I just spend the time hanging out by myself for the most
Yeah.
part. So, but then it was, and I'm very shy, so that really took me out of my comfort zone to have so many people say hello and want to take a picture or wanted me to sign a poster for them or even
Yeah.
sign a t-shirt. It was a trip.
Yeah.
But
They
I'm
took you
very,
right in. It's almost like they probably made you feel like you knew them forever, a lot of those guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel even with Danny. Like, I feel like me and him have been friends since we were kids. Like
Yeah.
we just hit it off so well that
We talk
like,
almost every day.
yeah, literally, I talk to him more often than my own brothers,
Yeah.
my blood brothers and stuff. So it's something that happened really organically, and it's amazing because Northside Kings are one of my favorite bands growing up, and to have the infamous Danny Marianino as one of my best friends now is never in a million years would I ever think that would have been a possibility.
Yeah.
And then for Danny to welcome me into his home and let me stay with him and Krista in May was, another pinch yourself moment. And
Yeah.
then meeting the guys in Arizona, like meeting Todd, hanging out with one of the guys that played in Warzone,
Yeah.
it's mental, all that stuff. I like never in a million years would have thought that this is something that would just happen to some schmuck from Melbourne,
Yeah.
Australia,
Yeah.
that no one, not half the people couldn't find it on a map, to be honest.
Mhm.
So
Meanwhile, we're all like, this dude is such a good artist. Like, I can't believe he's hanging out with us.
Yeah. It's true.
It's a whole other spectrum. Like, this guy must have hang out with us.
Yeah,
Arizona.
It's funny. It is funny how that stuff works because, like, I have several. I'm not gonna start name dropping or whatever, but I have several people like I'll call, yo, what's going on? Blah, blah. People that I've never in a million years, like I'll say like one person, for instance, Danny Boy from House of Pain. I
Yes.
seen him in 92 with real quick, hey, what's up, Daniel? Great show. Out. I didn't know the guy at all. Fast forward later, it's like we're friends. I go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and say what's up. Like it's part of my trip this summer. It's like I gotta stop in Tulsa to say what's up to Danny. It's like Jump Around is playing everywhere, and we don't even talk about any of that. It's not like Danny Boy from House of Pain. It's just Danny Boy. You know, it's just it's weird how that stuff happens. Never in a million years, but I think I would know this guy. There's a lot of things, even with hardcore people. You know what I mean? Like cool with all these people. Like I grew up like as a little kid, blood, sweat, and no tears. Sort of video on the Triple Thrash Threat on Headbangers Ball, and it was Injustice System came on, and I'm like, fuck. Hello, fucking sick of it all. Next thing you know, I buy all the sick of it all. Next thing you know, like I'm friends with all of them. I'll call Craig right now and break his ball. You know what I mean? Like it's cool that when you're younger and you look at these people, they're all just regular guys. You know, they're all just fucking people.
It's awesome. That's happened to me a lot. I mean, even when I think AF was here maybe 15 years ago, I met Gallo just out in the street, just in the city.
Great guy.
They were in a souvenir shop, and I heard Stigma's voice from the street, and I'm like, hang on, that voice sounds familiar. And I went in and I said hello, and now all these years later, you know, Mike is a friend of mine too. Like we talk about art stuff. He sends me all these ideas of things he's working on and all that sort of stuff. We go back and forth, and you know, we talk about, you know, MMA and other stuff, sports and boxing and all that sort of shit as well. So it has been a thing now where it's more, you transcend the I guess the scene, and now you're just part of a big group of friends, I suppose. And just the people that I've been able to connect with just from drawing cartoons and stuff is just, you know, it's something I pinch myself. Like, I mean, 2 days ago, and I told Danny this because we speak every day. I had a quick little sort of chat with Chuck D from Public Enemy.
That's awesome. Really? I heard he's a super nice guy. A friend of mine, shout out to my friend Andrew Katz. He's like super tight with Chuck D. Like he responds. He's like a super humble, really nice guy.
Yeah, and I mean, my two boys, my young boys, are starting to get into different kinds of music and stuff, and they're getting into the Public Enemy stuff. And I told my oldest boy when he came home from being out yesterday, you know, the other day, saying, "Oh, I spoke to Chuck D from Public Enemy." It, you know, blows their minds as well. You know?
Blows my mind.
It blows my mind.
Perfect.
And then, you know, and then even, I mean, to change the direction of the conversation slightly, is like when Danny first hit me up with the pitch for the book, was like, I'm going to do a book now as well, like it with this guy, you know. And it was just, it was nuts. And even that, like that process of the creative process of going back and forth over all, you know, throughout the process of putting the book together was amazing. And now we're doing it again for the next one. So it's
and possibly
really
a children's book this year, because that thing we talked about, I've gotten a lot more written on about I don't want to go too into it, but a story about from the character in our book Carmine, telling kids a story about this neighbor that didn't turn his lights on for Halloween for trick-or-treaters, and he was visited by the great Gabagool. and we, it's totally like a night before Christmas, but an Italian. I got a line I could give you one here or there, just out of it.
By the great Gabagool.
I got it on my phone. Let me see here. Yeah,
so these are the sort of things that we talk about when we're chatting every day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All sorts of ideas, crazy, dumb stuff, funny stuff.
Dumb stuff.
The clock had struck midnight. Troy slept all alone when suddenly the room smelled like cologne. He jumped out of bed from a noise in the cellar. Someone was eating his vinegar peppers.
Vinegar peppers.
Fucking ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
We go back and forth with so much dumb shit, me and Mick.
It's so stupid. The stupid shit is the funny shit, and I don't care what anyone says. And everyone cringes when I say it, but I always throw a stupid dad joke out there. It's almost like a Guinea Italian dad joke around Thanksgiving. And it's like, if I have a gizzard and you have a gizzard, what do we have? Everyone's like, I don't know, gizzards, 2 gizzards. I'm like, no, think about it. If I have a gizzard and you have a gizzard, what do we have? A gizzard each. It's so stupid.
I like
but
it.
I laugh all the time.
Listen, there's something to be said, but there's something to be said with those silly lines. Rodney Dangerfield, I always say this one all the time. She was a water sign, I was an earth sign. Together we made mud.
Mud. It's great. Oh my god.
Yeah, we go back. Me and Mick work really well together. I mean, you know, this year for a new It Blows My Mind, we're doing It Blows My Mind Book 2, The Gospel of Carmine.
The Gospel of.
Because you know, it's Carmine's verbiage. And it's funny, you know, I started doing these videos on my wife's idea, actually. I was thinking about doing some advertising online, and she's like, why don't you just read this shit online, and then you know, you make new videos, and then you can promote the book that way, and you don't have to you know, take out advertising. I'm like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Meanwhile, I mean, I'm saying stuff that I kind of agree with, but for the most part, I'm really exaggerating it. And I get so many messages from people that like argue with me on some of this shit. And I'm like, I don't even give a fuck.
You know, the one I watched, I don't know how, I watched it a couple of times in a row, and I was dying every time. It's the one where you start ripping on fucking Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam and that fucking song.
Oh yeah,
Better or whatever. It's like there's a whale and this and that. And so what the fuck is going on?
But then I put a picture of I didn't put Eddie Vedder. I put a picture of that actor. What's his name? In the new Ghost, he's Ant-Man. What's that guy's name?
I don't know. I know he's
I put that guy's picture in it. What was it?
Paul Rudd?
Yeah, Paul Rudd. I put Paul Rudd's picture instead of Eddie Vedder, and people were like, that's Paul Rudd. Don't you know who that is? I'm like, asshole, I know. It's supposed to be. I'm doing a character from the book who is obviously doesn't give a fuck. He's mistakenly an idiot.
Right.
And, you know, I know who Paul Rudd is.
Yeah.
I know it's not Eddie Vedder. Take it easy. Because TikTok, forget about it. I mean, Instagram, most of it, you know, a lot of people we know on there. There's people we don't know, but TikTok is almost all people we don't know.
Right.
And it's a whole different audience of people that are following that page. And because I put the same videos on everything.
Yeah.
And that one, people argue with me all the time.
That's awesome. I have a TikTok. I just created a TikTok account, and I have to start getting on there because I don't know.
Well, don't argue with me on there.
I won't argue with you. Oh shit! So I guess
we're definitely like underway. I mean, I gotta really send Nick. I got a bunch I gotta send you. I'm a little behind on this week with some stuff, but probably the next week you're gonna get a fucking email that's gonna be packed.
Is it good? Is it for the children's the Great Gabagool, or is it for the
It
new?
Blows My Mind book 2?
Blows my mind.
We're gonna get that out. We're gonna get that out first because we got some. We're gonna do. Most likely, our plan is to do the same size book for a volume 2, but we're going to do a volume 1 and 2 together as a hardcover collected version. And in that one, we're going to also have different artists' renditions of their take of Carmine.
That's cool.
Different comic book artists I've spoken to, and so we'll see. It'll be a lot of cool bonus stuff that won't be in the other books.
Nice.
As well as we've been working on like these 3-panel kind of comic strips because me and Mick are both huge fans of like those old like Hagar the Horrible and you know Blondie and
I just recently visited the grave of the guy who drew Beetle Bailey.
Okay, yeah, I love Beetle Bailey. I got him over here somewhere on my desk. He's over there somewhere.
He's over there.
I got a Beetle Bailey bobblehead around here
Of
somewhere.
course you do. I would not. It does not surprise me at all.
I guess he's dead. Yeah, those guys were so old. You know,
Walker.
You know,
Walker, his name was.
Me and my wife live by. Remember Family Circus? You know, with the family and they always walking and they always go to the ice cream shop, the Sugar Bowl. Well, we live about 5 minutes from the real Sugar Bowl, and the guy used to Bob Kane, I think his name was. Bob Crane, I don't know. He used to draw them in that Sugar Bowl. He would go in there in the luncheonette and draw the pictures in there and do the comics from the Sugar Bowl. So they got a bunch of his art in the place.
That's cool, man. See, I love all that shit. If there's younger kids, listen, if there's young kids watching this, they have no idea who the fuck Beetle Bailey is.
Beetle Bailey, yeah. Bazooka Joe is another one I really am a big fan of. So we're gonna throughout the new book. We're going to have a lot of these little free panel kind of quick joke and
nice
little things. We did one in the first book on the second to last page. We got one little one that we had in there. So we're going to have a lot more of those mixed in. Yeah. It's simple. And that actually was from something my grandparents said. I was on the beach with my grandparents and my grandmother said, "Boy, I wish I was on that boat." And my grandfather elbowed me and goes, "So do I."
Nice.
And I always thought that was so funny. So that was the first one we did.
That's like Rodney Dangerfield-esque.
Yeah.
It is.
My grandparents are funny, the two of them. So.
Oh shit! So I guess Mick, as a little kid, you started doodling and shit, and just you probably always been drawing, right?
Yeah, I wanted to grow up being a cartoonist or a comic book artist or something like that. But I think the main thing I wanted to do was be like a cover artist for comic books, not necessarily do all the interior sequential art because that's too hard for me to manage. So I guess in one way I kind of have done that in a way where it's, I guess an album cover or a t-shirt is kind of like the front cover of
100%
of a comic book. So it sort of, I've gone in phases with my art, doing different things. I did do a little bit of local comic book stuff, in my late teens, I think.
Right.
Then I became sort of a portrait painter, painting portraits and doing all that stuff. And I did exhibitions for years. And even that, I get bored kind of easily too. So I think that ran its course and I didn't really know what to do with myself from an art perspective. I mean, I've always had my day jobs and all that sort of stuff. So it wasn't anything that I was relying on art for my income and all that sort of stuff. So it never bothered me too much, but I always wanted to be creative and do stuff. So I guess one day I just started doing these kind of punk and hardcore skinhead type cartoons. And then it just took off. It sort of slowly just built up from there. I didn't expect anything to come of it, to be honest with you. But it slowly built up. And I mean, there's lots of ills with social media and all that sort of stuff. But from I think an art perspective, something like Instagram and those sort of things are pretty amazing because you almost get real time updates to people that are on the other side of the planet. You draw something, you take a picture of it, and within a minute, everyone in the world can see it, sort of thing. So, so that's on. I don't know how people built up sort of their portfolios before, I guess that technology stuff, but that's really helped me get out there, obviously, for people to see, and it just took off from there. And then I guess working with the New York stuff, I think it just happened by accident, to be honest. I'm not really sure how that happened. I guess it was doing one thing for one band and then it just took off from there. And then so it's always been
I'm gonna have to commission you for something for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let me know anytime. I'm
interested in knowing what's your favorite piece. I know my two favorites you've done. My personal favorites was one of them's the Bourbon Discipline one that you did for Sheer Terror.
Yes.
That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
That was one of them. And then I love the Eliminator you did for Agnostic Front on the back of the windbreaker.
That's
I
great
remember,
jacket
I
thing,
think
yeah.
I sent you a picture once. I was at Costco, and a guy in front of me had that windbreaker on, and I took
Yeah.
a picture of it because I always do that. I'm like, Mick in the Wild, I call it. There's a picture of Mick in the Wild. Because listen, I go to a show today, even in Phoenix. I go to a show, and there's like 10 kids with different shirts on from bands that Mick did the artwork for. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so many bands I've never even heard of. I'm like, I know it's his artwork because I know his style, and he shows me a lot of stuff that he's done too. Hey, I did this for Death Threat or whoever, Aaron's new band. It'll send me some stuff that I'll see ahead of time. But even if I don't see it, I'm like, that's a Mick. That's a Mick.
That's a Mick.
It's a Mick. And I take pictures of it and I fucking send it to him. And Mick in the Wild, and so those are my two favorites. But what would you say the two you did?
I think that
One.
Eliminator one too is one of my favorites, and that was weird because that took 10 minutes to sketch. When Gallo goes, do you want to put something together for us? I'm like, okay, what do you got any ideas? He goes, no, just do whatever you like, and I just banged that out, and they all loved it, and that was it. And then they're the best ones, I think, that happen organically like that. Oh yeah, I'd probably go with the Bourbon Discipline one too. That was such a when Paul asked me, he goes, oh, I've got this crazy idea to do our spin of the Urban Discipline cover, and he gave me the rundown, and um I put the sketch together, and he's like, no, the guy's not fat enough. Make him fatter, make him look older, make the dog look older. And even that only took not that long to really get that one done. And I've even when I sent it to John at Dead City, he was like, holy shit, this is mental. Like what and I was like, it's not my idea. Like Paul pitched me the idea. And so there's those two. And I also love I think it was the second Sheer Terror shirt I did, which was a collab with the guys from Omerta, where it's the guy with the hoodie walking through like the streets of all the porno theaters.
Yes.
Again, that was actually originally going to be a hooded the same character walking just through a normal street. That was meant to be a Sick of It All. That was pitched as a Sick of It All shirt, and for whatever reason, Paul Bearer saw it and he goes, well, we want to use that, but can you change the street into just like $2 peeps and porno theaters and all that sort of stuff, and that came together really well too. So I love that one as well. They're probably my three favorites, I think.
Okay.
But it's been like I've done like even the AF Eliminator one. I printed that up myself as a huge poster, just as a souvenir for myself,
Sure.
and I've got the Northside Kings one up on my wall as well, and the cover of It Blows My Mind. Danny sent me a nice big poster of that as well. So I'm starting to only now kind of appreciate some of that stuff and get nostalgic about some of that stuff, because usually I just forget about it. And I've got 2 tubs of T-shirts in my garage of the stuff that people have sent me that I've done for them, and I don't know. I'm kind of weird about wearing my own shirt that I've done the art for, so I keep them more as souvenirs, and maybe when my boys are old enough, I'll let them wear them and all that sort of stuff. But they're probably my 3 favorites, I think. It's hard to remember as well because I've done so many things for over so many years now that it's I lose track of the bands that I've worked for. But yeah, I think they're my favorites, those 3.
Nice.
I like the picture you posted yesterday with the comment of, if this is available for a band, if you're interested. That's a brilliant idea because I mean, I right off the bat, I would if I was still playing in a band, that would be an album cover. Right there, done. You
Well, I
found
thought
our
that
album
too.
cover.
My strike rate with those ones is incredibly low, actually. So
Really?
yeah, I don't know what's going. It's kind of it's sort of strange at the moment. I don't know if it's an algorithm thing or something, or people just don't like them. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's
I mean,
very hit and
I
miss
just
at
throw
the
an axe
moment.
in the guy's hand, and we got the new axe attack record right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
But I just do things like that just to because I don't think I've got really other than the book that we're working on. I don't think I've got anything else on the go at the moment, actually. So, um, the only thing I've recently done, I did, we're doing a print for the Sick of It All tour. So I've put a print together that we're going to sell at the shows and all
Nice.
that sort of stuff. So that came out really cool. So I guess once that all that gets announced and stuff, we'll post stuff about that as well, which is exciting. And that's they've pretty much that
is
ticks me
that
off
something
with
that they're gonna
almost.
is that something that they're gonna take on the tour through Australia?
Yeah, I think we're going to get them. I think the idea was to print them up here because the company Syndicate Touring who's bringing them out. Um, they're also like a merch company and they do t-shirts, prints, you name it, everything under the
Yeah,
sun. So I think we're going to run it through sort of the business aspect of that
that's cool.
versus merch they're
Yeah,
called. So
awesome.
yeah, it'll be so that's something to look forward to. So I'll probably do a few shows on that tour. I might go to some of the other states if I can, and trying to go
It's
to as
so
many shows as I can.
it's so funny when you say states in Australia because we don't think of that. We just think Australia is one big place. That's it.
One big fucking place.
Yeah, there's no
Well,
states.
Oh,
What
man.
well,
states are you
we're
going to? You
well
go to
we're right
Delaware?
at the bottom. So Victoria, we got I forget. There's what 5 states and 2 territories. I think we've got here. So
I never
Sydney's
knew that.
north. Sydney's north of us, and Sydney's in New South Wales. That state's New South Wales. So I guess from Melbourne to Sydney, if you're going to drive, it's a 9 hour drive thereabouts. And then the other major city in South Australia, which is Adelaide, which is about a 7.5 hour drive. So that's how far we are from how the major cities are distance wise. So everything's really spread out, but all along the coast. And it's just like there's a funny map. It's just like desert, and then where people live, and it's like the area where people live is such a small percentage of the country because it's
Oh yeah.
inhospitable, I think is the word. It's
Yes.
just
It's the same
deserts
here.
and stuff. It's
Same in Arizona. I mean, once you get out of Phoenix, there isn't really very much until you get to Flagstaff. I mean, there's some little towns along the way, but you
I
know,
mean, nothing for nothing.
nothing for nothing. There's a town that what they're known for. They sell pies. You know,
Nice.
yeah, like they sell like apple pie, cherry pie, Black Canyon City. That's it. There's a store that sells pies. Next door there's a beef jerky guy, and then like in the back there's like a couple thrift stores, and that's the whole town. You know, there's almost nothing in between. It's just open desert, inhabitable, fucking Thunderdome. You know,
well, the one
it's
thing you'll find in every town, as big or small as it is in Australia, is it's got to have a pub. That's it. I don't think anyone else. I don't think people care about anything else as long as you can buy beer from somewhere. That's the most important thing. So
That's the universal important thing. There is
There you go.
yeah,
getting some alcohol.
Yeah.
There you go.
pubs everywhere. Pubs.
I'll be swinging by you at some point in July. I'll be running through Arizona.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You did mention that. Cool. Well, come over. I'll barbecue up for you.
There
I'll
you
cook
go.
up some shit. I got.
Yeah. I'll be with my daughter. I'm gonna
That's all right.
I'm gonna drag her around California. I'm gonna start off in California, up by San Francisco, drive all the way. I want to go to Alcatraz first, and I'm gonna go all the way down Pacific Coast Highway, Santa Monica, all to LA. I got to go to Chatsworth because I need to walk around Spahn Ranch, and then go down through Arizona, New Mexico, up through the piece of Texas, up to Tulsa, and then depending on my time, either drive home all the way, like literally cross country, or fly out of somewhere in Oklahoma, depending on my time.
You come with your daughter. I get she'll love our little dogs. Nick will
Yeah,
tell you
she likes dogs.
we got these two little fruity little dogs. They're really cute.
Nice.
One lays on my arm like a baby. My wife puts her little dresses and shit.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole big location Just go. You know the shit that I do. You know, you might even see it on my page. I go to. It could be true crime spots or movies or videos or a famous photograph, and go to the actual thing. So there's. I'm gonna be busy. I have so many places I want to go and take pictures of and just visit.
I'll take you to the Bill and Ted Circle K, which is not a Circle K anymore. They just literally just changed it, but the store is still there. I could take you to
I'm in.
The Hole in the Rock from Just One of the Guys. That movie with
Really?
the girl. So that same mountain in Just One of the Guys, where they have the little campfire on.
It's okay. It's okay. He has tits.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and they popped out in that movie.
Is that the movie we watched?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's so bad that it's amazing.
But that same mountain is also where the ninja from Ninja 3 The Domination found the sword. It's the same spot. And then also there's another movie with Will Ferrell called Everything Must Go. It's kind of a sad movie. He's living in his front yard. He drives right past that same mountain again. And so there's I could show you 3 spots just from that alone. I can show you Bill and Ted's they filmed it all around the area here. The water park is still there when Napoleon went down. Yeah. The mall is gone. They just demolished it. But the high school is still there. And there's other stuff around the neighborhood too.
The high school, I could get some good screenshots of the high school and stuff. And yeah, that's awesome.
They changed the front a little bit, but the high school is just up the block. And the convenience store that Will Ferrell's buying booze from and Everything Must Go is literally, quarter mile from my house.
Really?
Because he was riding his bike all around the neighborhood when they were filming it. They filmed it all in this area here. But there's a ton of other stuff in this area too.
That's awesome.
I know most of the movie spots. I'm into that shit. So
I know you are. That's
and Eddie Guerrero and superstar Billy Graham are buried down the street from me in the same graveyard.
Gotta go.
Take you over there,
Yeah. I've frequented several wrestlers' graves. A lot of mobsters, but a lot of wrestlers. I paid my respects to Big John Studd not too long ago. Fucking cool, man. I'm like, this is just cool. Paul Orndorff, Rick Rude, a whole bunch of them I went to go visit.
Ravishing Rick Rude is dead?
Yeah, he died years ago in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Ravishing Rick Rude is in North Carolina in a wall. Yeah,
I gotta look them up. I just got this for Christmas.
Oh, I'd say that's amazing.
Literally on my desk.
That's awesome. I had a run-in once, not even really a run-in, but I met him with Scott Hall with Razor Ramon, and that was at a horror convention in Jersey at the Showboat in Atlantic City, and I'm in there. My daughter's in there. My ex-girlfriend was with me. And Ron Jeremy walks in. There's this guy, Tony Moran, who played Michael Myers, Joni's brother from Happy Days. This person's in there. Next thing you know, here comes Scott Hall, and he's whacked. He's hammered. He's drunk as fuck, and he's a big motherfucker.
Did he really talk like that? Like, I am the sexiest man in the world.
No. but you could tell he was super cool, and he was hammered. He looks at me and my ex-girlfriend, my daughter. He's like, "Oh, we should all get some food. We should all eat together." Right? And he's on the phone. He's screaming into the voicemail like Kevin Nash, telling him to come down from the hotel room. There's people who are all having fun. He's cursing them out. "Don't be a pussy. Come down," into Kevin Nash's voicemail. But you could tell he was super cool. But you could tell that at any moment, and you don't know what moment that is, that he could snap and he'll fucking destroy the bar. He was almost like. It's kind of like, I don't know if I could hang out with this guy all night long because there's probably going to be some sort of a problem. He had that something about him, and I was super upset when he died. I was super upset. I was like, last year we hung out with this guy and he was cool. So he's buried all in this weird spot in Massachusetts that I got to go visit his grave.
I saw the match that they did at WrestleMania with him and Shawn Michaels, where they had the ladder match where the belt was in the air because they took that on tour. And I saw that. I had just moved to Phoenix, and I think I was here maybe 6 months or 8 months, and they did that match here. Also, Doink the Clown was there with Dink the Clown.
Oh, God.
The Bushwhackers were there, Nick's boys. And
I met one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them
just recently died.
Yeah, so the guy who died, I was hanging out with the Honky Tonk Man.
Awesome.
Twice this year because I did 2 shows with him. I was a guest at the Las Cruces Comic Con and then Tucson Comic Con. He was at both, and we hit it off. And we were hanging out, and he told me that this crazy story. The guy who died, whichever one from the Bushwhackers, they flew him out from Australia, came to America. He was all hyped up. The next day, he was supposed to do some signing for some kind of WWE card, classic cards, and he was going to sign a bunch of them. But he was like, he ready to live the old days. And he went out and he did all kinds of drugs and was drinking. And that's what killed him. He came back to the US and he was like, and he's like ready to fucking party. And he was too old for that shit. And
Oh my God.
And he died and he didn't do the signing.
Great.
So they had to fly him home, I guess. But yeah, one of the Bushwhackers licked my head at that match. But the point I was trying to say was that they were hitting each other with that. Anybody that says wrestling's fake, I mean, yeah,
right. It's a predetermined outcome. Those guys hurt each other, man.
You could hear them smacking each other with that fucking ladder. I mean, if I bump my knee on the ladder climbing down it, I'm screaming bloody murder. Yeah. These guys were fucking bashing each other with the thing falling off the top of the ladder. I mean, that was a unbelievable match to see live.
I'm sure.
And when I saw it on WrestleMania, it was cool. But to see that in person with those 2 guys was unfucking believable.
I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to, I'll go pay my respects to Eddie Guerrero and superstar Billy Graham. Like, I love doing that shit. It also gives me a reason to get the fuck out of the house, and it gives me a reason to go on a road trip with destinations to go see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know places that I want to go, and it's going to just 1 or 2 spots in a slew of probably. I think I have like 60 spots I want to hit in like the LA area alone. And that's just picking and choosing because there's 90,000 things that I can go see, but time is a factor. So I got to pick my bucket list spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like Tucson's 2 hours away, but if you wanted to go to Tucson, that's where they filmed Can't Buy Me Love, and the plane graveyard is over there.
Yes.
You can't go in it anymore. You can only look over the fence, I guess.
Davis Monthan Air Force Base.
I can't remember the name of it.
Because I was in Tucson because a really good friend of mine, he's one of my old bosses from the Air Force from 20-something years ago, lives in Gilbert. Remember I asked you how far Gilbert? Yeah. So I got to pop in and say what's up to him too. But I was in Tucson, maybe like 15 years ago at this point. My daughter wasn't even born. Or maybe that's when I found out that my ex-wife was pregnant. So that was like 14 years ago, 15. That's fucking, I'm just thinking about that now. But I was in Tucson. It was Davis Monthan Air Force Base. There's a giant plane graveyard there. But I wasn't doing this location stuff at the time. You know what I mean? But I remember this. Why did javelina? Why I never heard of a javelina in my life until I went to Tucson.
I punched one in the face once.
Of course you did.
I swear to you. I lived in this apartment complex, and one night
it's like a hairy pig.
They're fucking scary looking. Every night the javelinas would come out, and then the coyotes would come down looking for the javelinas. They live by this little mountain area. But one night, probably about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, you know the dumpster has got the side door where you can throw garbage in the side door? Well, it was kind of half open. I went to throw some garbage out. I lifted the whole lid, and I threw the garbage bag in a dumpster. When I did, there was a javelina in the dumpster, a couple of javelinas, I guess, eating the garbage, and it jumped out that square hole. And I went, I hit one of those, and I fucking knocked it right back into the dumpster. It scared the shit out of me, and then they all jumped out and fucking. My heart was racing. So yeah, I punched the javelina.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But Revenge of the Nerds is also filmed in Tucson. That's another one.
Okay.
The college is still there. Greasy Tony's is gone, but he wears the shirt Greasy Tony's.
Yeah.
That place was a shithole. They had one in Phoenix, Tempe, too. I ate it there before they closed it.
Nice.
But all that stuff is all down in there. There's a lot of Phoenix has a lot of stuff. They had the whole Western town where they did the Three Amigos and all that, the singing bush.
Okay.
Remember the Three Amigos had the singing bush?
I seen that movie 30 years ago.
Well, I'll just take you to a bush and tell you it's the same.
All right, tell me it's.
No one's gonna notice a difference.
I'll believe
This
you.
is the singing bush.
All right, sounds like a plan. Oh Jesus! So you guys have any like expected date of when this new book is gonna drop? The Gospel of fucking Carmine.
I would say we don't have a date
Approximate,
yet.
obviously, it's approximate.
Probably April, May. I mean, that's
Okay.
the goal. I think. Right.
I'll be done with my book with my first rough draft by then. I'm thinking like
I
March.
think you should turn that into 2 books. To be honest with you, when you
That
got a
was
book
this.
that
It was this. I discussed that with my editor, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, listen, like I said, I'm almost 600 pages in. There's no way the entire book is not going to be 600 pages. He just told me to keep writing, and it's much easier to chop than to add shit. You know what I mean? Because then what are you really adding? You're dreaming up stuff. You know, it's like bullshit. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. And listen.
Some people get intimidated by a big, thick book like that. They're never going to be able to read through that whole thing.
Right.
Especially if you throw some pictures into the mix.
Yeah.
You know,
there has to be some pictures, but I'll see what happens. I mean, listen, just like Mick, like you were saying, like you started drawing and you doing these things. You had no intentions and just things just happen. Like it's the same with me. Like I threw it out there. I'm gonna write a book. Next thing you know, I have like a fucking super well-known editor who edited The Stand and Pet Cemetery and a dozen Dean Koontz books and all this shit. Who's a friend of mine. What happened?
I said, "What you call me?" What?
Right. So he's like a friend of mine's father-in-law, and I had no idea until I put it on Facebook. I think I'm gonna write a book. Next thing you know, I'm almost 600 pages in. I've never written anything in my fucking life, ever. You know what I mean? So, but he's like, dude, you could fucking write. And I'm like, that sounds weird, but cool. Thank you. It's So
I told you, it's all it takes is to sit down. I'm 5 books in right now.
I know.
And with that, me and Mick got maybe 2 for this year we're working on. There's a specific movie that I've been wanting to make a book about for a long time. And I think I'm going to move forward with it. I got some ideas on how I want to do it. I got the book Surely You Can't Be Serious, The Making of Airplane.
Okay.
And I love the format of how they did that book. And I want to do a book on this specific movie.
Okay.
Same way. And I got some ideas and I've been working on it. So that's another project that I'm working on. Not to mention, I want to do another follow-up. I did that book To Make Matters Worse, where it was all like crazy stories from when I was a kid. And I had a lot more that I didn't use because I didn't want to make the book. I felt I was getting too long with the story, long in the tooth with it. So I shimmed it down. But I want to do another book on that, another continuation called something to the effect of More Stories I Shouldn't Talk About. Something
there
like
you
that.
go. Yeah.
So the one thing about staying creative, and that's the good thing with Mick with the art and you with the book, and I told you, just start writing down some stories you can bounce around. I constantly am writing stuff, and if it's not for one book, it's for the other book or this book, and that way I don't get too drained on the same thing, and I'm not forcing it. When I got the feel for it, I go back to this or to that.
I find myself
you got the bug, and you're a good storyteller. I listened to those 2 podcasts where you told all those stories years ago from your life. I loved it. I was.
Oh, you did. That was terrible because I was talking into my phone. I didn't have the settings right, so you hear like people texting me and shit. And someone calls me. I'm like, hey, hold on. You hear me pouring coffee and shit. I think I even take a leak in it, and you don't hear it, but I do, bro. I was going for like 2 hours. I took like a pot of coffee. I had to use the bathroom. I'm on the toilet. You don't know where it is. I know where it is, but yeah, it's a shit show. I was just walking around my apartment alone, talking into my phone like a half a psycho. Just talking.
You're gonna really once you see the finished product. I never liked playing music live. I'm not the guy who likes to get up on stage and play in front of an audience. I never did. There's bands I wanted to play with. There's still bands I never got to play with, Biohazard being one of them. But it was the creating, it was the writing the music, it was the band practice, it was going into the studio, recording the album, and then getting done with it and going, here's the finished product.
Yeah.
Here's the cover. We took the time to put the song list together.
Yeah.
I was Monty Connor posted something about Scatterbrain the other day. And Scatterbrain was one of the other albums, Here Comes Trouble, that really wanted me to play, made me want to play music. And he mentioned in there the guy from Scatterbrain was jumped in and said something about the track listing, and I was like, there was nothing like listening to an album. I still listen to that album top to bottom because I love the way they put those tracks together on that. And today we don't do that. We listen to songs on an iPad or on the computer. You pick the 3-4 songs, your favorite songs on the album, and then you pick 3-4 songs from another album. You never really go through. Once in a blue moon, I'll pull out a cassette. I listened to Exodus Impact is Imminent recently.
Great.
Both sides. I got the cassette still. And I was like, man, there's so many good songs on this album that I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
Scatterbrain, that album, I thought was perfect. And that's the thing about that I miss playing in music is that whole creation and putting it together and figuring out, does this song not really fit after this?
Right.
This works better. That whole portion of it.
Yeah, man.
And you're going to find when you're doing a book, once you start to put some pictures in, and
all that stuff. Whether it's either doing this podcast or creating the flyers for this podcast, doing my Delta Bravo urban exploration stuff, putting those pictures together. There's another podcast that I do with those Delta Bravo guys. We don't do it very often, but I do it. I do those flyers. I'm doing the book. I'm always doing something to keep me occupied besides going to work. You know what I mean? I'm always doing something. No matter what it is.
You got it. Well, you're gonna once you get that finished product done, you're gonna want to work on another book. So that's why
that's exactly what my editor told me. He's like, "There's gonna be another one in you." He was like, "You don't even realize it yet because, but he's worked with everybody. So he's like, you don't even know what that book is gonna be, and I don't either. But guarantee when you're done with this, it's gonna be something else that you want to write about." And I was like, maybe. I mean, I can't say no. I mean, you might be right. I don't know what that would be, but it's possible because I enjoyed this whole process. It's really cool. I learned a lot about myself, even writing my own life story. It's very weird. Like I could tell you 15 different stories about this, that, and the other thing. But when you're sitting there and you're writing, sometimes literally second by second about a certain situation or a time, and I'm in a room and I'm still with this person and that person, this band is playing or this music is playing, I'm in this bar and something winds up happening. I'm literally going moment by moment of the chain of events that led up to something. So I literally have to put myself back literally in that room, in that mind state to make it authentic of how everything went down. So some of it is not very easy to write about. A lot of times I find myself laughing at the stupid shit that I used to do. I'll be sitting here on this computer in this chair laughing by myself in here like a maniacal retard. But that's okay. But that's the whole part of it. Now I'm going to start getting it right now. I'm at a part where I'm sober. I met my daughter's mother. She's still my girlfriend. We're about to move to Miami. Then we're going to move to North Carolina. So it's not a lot of chaos. And then it gets really, really, really dark. It gets really dark for about 3 years. And then I'm ending it for all intents and purposes at the end of 2014 when I got sober. So October 1st, 2014 is when I got sober. So it's kind of like, all right, there's all of this peaks and valleys, a lot of horrible shit, a lot of funny shit, a lot of stupid shit, some good stuff. But then I made it out. And that's why the book is called Relatively Unscathed. Relatively, because no one ever said I was fucking normal.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it. Yo, throw out your all your Instagrams and stuff, but I will throw it because you did mention it before. I shout out to my sponsor, who is Generation Records, located at 210 Thompson Street in the West Village here in New York City. Follow them on Instagram at Generation Records and find them. It's 2023. Look up Generation Records, you'll find them. Shout out to Mark and Ron Grimaldi.
Shout out to Mark for making me specifically a bigger size shirt that fits me.
There you go. See, Mark is a good dude.
He's a great dude.
I need the length, and he had to custom order me. And I was like, listen, if it's going to cost me a little bit more, I'll pay the money. Just let me know. Well, he didn't charge me anything else. He just sent me the shirt in the mail.
Beautiful.
Gentleman,
Yes.
Yes, I caught up with him when I was there in May as well. Great guy.
Yeah. So shout out to Generation Records they've been a sponsor of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace since like episode 3 way back. So good people.
Well, I definitely plan on going to New York early spring sometime to do some sort of a book event for Don't Ever Punch a Rock Star, and Generation Records is where I really want to go. So
Hit me up. That's a half-hour train ride for me, my man. And if I'm in the city, if I happen to be working, it's a 15-minute train ride from my job because I work in the city.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, brother. Where do we follow you people?
Well, I'll let Mick go first.
Because my daughter's gonna chop my head off.
It's just my name. It's Mick _Lambrou on Instagram. That's it. Or you can find me on Facebook as well. I don't really post a lot of stuff on there anyway, but Instagram's my main thing for sharing my projects. So
very good. Danny, you have a whole bunch of shit going on.
Yeah, so most of
Total Gavone.
I haven't really done a whole lot with that lately. I've been too busy, but it blows my mind. That's me and Nick's page for the book, and we have a TikTok. It's at It Blows My Mind. We have a YouTube page at It Blows My Mind. It's pretty much the same name on all those.
Across the board.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Punk Rock Museum. I don't know if this is going to drop in time, but January 14th.
What date is that? What day of the week is that?
Sunday, not this Sunday, but the Sunday after.
And I'll drop this on purpose on that Saturday. Hopefully, it helps.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be there all day. The Wolf Publishing is doing they're calling it their takeover at the Punk Rock Museum. Guy from Channel 3, the punk band Channel 3, is going to be there, I think, on Friday. Dave from Adrenaline OD is going to be there on Saturday, and then I'm going to be there on Sunday all day. And I'm going to go to the Mob Museum.
I want to go there bad.
Yeah, our guitar player, Luke, who played in Northside Kings, I think it's his grandfather, was like a crooked judge in Chicago. And I think he's on the wall. He's on the wall in the Mob Museum. So I got to go take some pictures from his grandpa or something. And then, TikTok. I'm on that too. So
there you go.
You're 15 years old and you want to see it. It blows my mind stuff. That's what I use when kids come up to me at shows. And I had a couple people like in New Mexico. They were like, I know who you are. You're that It Blows My Mind guy. I follow your TikTok. I'm like, how old are you? They're like 14. I'm like, you follow my TikTok and you're 14? I curse a lot.
Oh, well.
But they didn't know we had a book. They were like, oh, I didn't know there was a book to this. I'm like, every video I post the book at the end. But that's cool. I'm glad you're following it,
Yeah, follow away. If you're 15 and you want to hear me complain, it's awesome.
Well, man, thank you.
Dude, guys, this is awesome. And listen, we will absolutely, I'll say it right now, we will absolutely do another one of these when the book drops or whatever. I'll talk to you guys all the fucking time. I don't give a shit. This is my show. I do whatever the fuck I want. People are sick and tired of the same fucking people. Then don't listen. That's what I say.
Fuck it. That's what
I make the same amount of money if you listen or not. I don't make a dime off of this. I do this because I want to. That's it.
And I want to see for the next show if Nick can get that mustache any thicker, because that's that right there is an impressive mustache.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like if you came to pick me up, Nick, and you had a van with a bubble window and like a airbrushed wizard on the side,
you wouldn't get in.
And I think I would be afraid to get in. I still would get in, but
I would too. I'd want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense are we going to get into?
I'm probably going to get arrested in this van, but he's probably got beer and other stuff with that mustache. So
nice. Awesome. Oh, last but not least, good, because the Instagram page for the original Blast Furnace thing is hacked. Pretend it doesn't even exist. So what I wound up doing, instead of having 95 different Instagram accounts, the Instagram account it's a combination. It's for the podcast and the book. And it's just at Relatively Unscathed on Instagram. Other than that, there's a book group and the Brooklyn Blast Furnace group on Facebook, which a lot of people see more. So because I don't have a big following yet on the Instagram page, because I just did it just for the book stuff. And I'm like, I tried so many times to get my old page back. And if I make another one, then I'm going to have to field stupid questions about which one is it. This one is this Blast Furnace one. Is it? I'm just combining the fucking Instagram one because I'm everywhere else anyway. But there's a link in the bio on the relatively unscathed Instagram where that'll open up a link tree where you can find the podcast, everything book related and everything. From YouTube to Spotify to iTunes, all of it. So
Instagram for us, I think for me and Mick, we get more traction out of Instagram, I think, than anything. Facebook kind of buries our stuff, and TikTok, we're in a sea of big titties and and other stuff that people aren't so interested in seeing some fat guy fucking ramble on about fucking people that
go to sleep angry.
Yeah, that was today.
I saw that today.
Awesome. I record a couple of those in advance. So sometimes you'll see me do the video and you'll see the next one and I got the same shirt on. It's because I'll record like 3 or 4 on, and I do them like I don't really like rehearse it.
Right.
So I'll record maybe 2-3 times. Mick saw me do it. I'm like, so I say words incorrectly.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like I'll try to fix it up on the bottom, and I'll say with the text of what I meant to say, but I'm not saying that. It comes out of my mouth.
Oh wow.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, who cares? It's all jokes and fun and games.
Oh my, Murph Griffin, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Exactly. Gentlemen, this was awesome, and like I said, we'll absolutely do it again. When the new book drops, hit me up. We'll make it happen again, and that'll be a thing. It'll be a thing.
We'll be sure to get you a copy, definitely ahead of time.
Awesome. Let me know when it drops. I'll support. I'll buy it. No problem.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it.
Sounds good.
Besides, you're gonna have to take me to a pizza place. So.
The L&B pizza on me. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm not saying you got to treat me. I'm saying you just got to.
I'm treating you. You're in my territory. I treat you. When I come to Arizona, you get. I don't know whatever you guys eat over there. You get me back when I come to Arizona and hang out.
Listen, I'm cooking like Fred Flintstone over here. Fucking dinosaur, fucking.
I'm in.
Ribs coming through the house.
I'm in.
Brontosaurus burgers.
Yes. Mick will tell you, I got a smoker in the back. I got the plancha, the Blackstone. I got the gas grill. I got the Santa Maria grill with the wheel. I got the Greek fucking gyro machine. I hook it up to propane. I go buy the Kronos, the wheels, and I could cut the fucking Euro meat in the backyard and make I mean, it's nuts.
I'm in.
I'll make sure I don't eat. Drinking.
I'll make sure that I don't eat on my way there.
Yeah, you save.
I'll make sure I'm starving.
Save for room for sure.
I will.
All right, guys.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I got a cigar waiting for me.
Yeah, go have your cigar. I'm gonna hit you up probably tomorrow with an idea. You let me know. I want to commission a piece of something for you for the podcast, and we'll go from there. And we'll talk again soon.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys.
We're over here now.
Be good. Over here now.
Later, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.